So it's been just under 6 months since I started presenting on GMBN Tech, and in that time, I've been very fortunate to experiment with these, if I'm honest, pretty simplistic race mods. I mean, there is a little bit more to the Active Spider, but we'll get into that. All three of these mods are derived from the highest levels of our sport in downhill and enduro racing. But what if we strap them all to the same bike in one go, which is going to give us the biggest advantage? And I'm interested to see which is the most cost effective. Well, this is GMBN Tech, and I'm going to ride some bikes today. Now, this is the rig for today's experiment, my propane Ooyy. And unlike the other lovely bikes we're loaned by our partners, I actually own this bike. So it arrived 10 minutes before I got the call to say I was going to be presenter. So I held on to it. And that's not me throwing shade on the other amazing bikes we get to ride. It's just at the point of ordering it, it had everything I was after as a consumer. So I was after a category 5 rated aluminium frame with 160mm rear wheel travel. The spring rate on the coil shock was specable at the point of purchase on Propane's bike builder. It's got very few, if any, proprietary headset parts, and it's matte black. And if Batman rode enduro, it'd probably be on this. And it's safe to say then, I am quite literally invested in making this bike go faster. So before we get modding, I'm gonna need to set a baseline time. Now, we're in Girona, and Neil actually clued me in on a sweet run called Spider-Man, and I snuck out before breakfast just to get a recce in, because as you guys probably know, I'm not that good with directions, so let's get to it. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Let's see how fast this propane can go. That's the baseline run done. Let's get modding. I'm going to start with balanced wheels. Now, the idea here is to remove any unwanted oscillations and feedback through the bike by evenly distributing the mass all the way around the wheel's rim. So when I made the original wheel balancer video, I got our Ferg to have a go on the wheels. So today's going to be a learn for me, trying these for the first time. But that video does go into a little bit more detail than a wheel nil, and it does have a Ferg mini shredder in it. So make sure you check out that video when you're done here. These sections of adhesive lead tape cut to a specific length. So each 33mm piece is 1 gram. The complete 2.54 or 100-inch roll was 14 pounds. And out of that roll, I got 77 33mm lengths. So 14 over 77, and you get each length coming out at 18 pence each. So whilst these wheels don't currently have any additional weight on them, confusingly, I have already balanced these wheels. But let's cut back to the maintenance set, because I did actually find something quite amazing when I balanced these. To my amazement, the rear wheel with the cassette, the rotor, the Vittoria Mazda Enduro tyre and their downhill airliner was perfectly balanced. Nice. These Lycra bandits have just shown up. It's like they're out for a gravel ride and we're trying to do a baggy shoot here, lads.
Well, we had to show you how it's done, mate.
He's dragged me off pedalling, Adam. I'd far rather be with you, mate.
See? I've since removed those weights for the baseline run, but far from a wasted exercise and wasted camera memory, I now know exactly where to put those 15 grams. So there is the argument of tread wear, but 1, you don't rebalance the wheels on your car every 100 miles, and 2, this bike has only seen maybe about 2.5 runs since, so nothing excessive. Right, I've just pedalled back up after the balanced wheel run, and I did notice a difference. It just felt like I was able to place that front wheel better than when it was unweighted, and I think that's just owing to those few oscillations. But I will save the time for that till later on, where I'll reveal all the times, so hang around for that. But next, let's go on to the mods I have tried. Chain dampers, or more accurately in this case, Active Spiders. Now, I've got the O-Chain R here, which has got 4 settings for float, and I've currently got it in the wide open position to inhibit suspension the least. But let's get into it a little bit more. As your suspension compresses, the path of your rear axle can move away from the bottom bracket. This basically makes the rear centre of your bike grow. Since your chain is a fixed length, this growth of the rear centre puts the chain under more tension. While the derailleur takes care of the tension at the lower part of your chain, this upper section between the cassette and the chainring will want to grow, but can't. That movement then causes a rearward force through your chain set, which is known as pedal kickback. What it shows is that your drivetrain and rear suspension of the bike are in fact linked, and as a result, showing the drivetrain can inhibit the suspension's movements. Now, experimenting with the active spiders was a really fun day, albeit a bit hot. So I've got this O-Chain R here, and I'm going to bolt it to my bike and see how it goes. It is worth noting, this is the spenniest component in today's experiment at £339. That's significantly more than the other two. Let's get it bolted onto the bike and see how much quicker it goes. Whilst doing this, I'm just gonna say I'm normally a small backpack kind of guy, but carrying my Camelback Mule Evo today has meant I've been able to not only carry all the mods, including that active spider chain set, but it's meant I've carried the tools, and if you can't tell, I'm quite sweaty, so having that 3-litre bladder in it has been an absolute, game-changing experience for me today. Pop that off. That comes off. That comes out. That goes on. I did pre-grease that, by the way. And today I'm using my inbuilt torque wrench. Click. There we go. Put a little bit of preload on. Nice. And he's just tried to put it in the wrong side. Welcome to GMBN Tech. Nip that down. Nip that down. Stash all the tools. Leave no trace, because this is a rather beautiful part of the world we're in. 3, 2, 1, go. Well, immediately, the O-Chain feels absolutely phenomenal. Across the line. Well, I'm not going to give too much away, but that run felt absolutely phenomenal. Just hang around for the times. But if you want a little bit of a deeper dive into how these active spiders and chain dampers work, go and check out the video. I was lucky enough to be able to chat to Adam Brayton, Pierre Alexander and Matt Sheehan. So we've got a racer, a world champs winning downhill mechanic, and the founder and engineer behind Rimpact, which is another brand that makes a really cool active spider device. Right, now to the most recent of my experiments. And finally, we're on to additional sprung mass. Now, it's quite a hot topic at the minute with enduro and downhill racers strapping up to 1.8 kilos to their bikes. That was Jackson Goldstone in Ludenville this year, just needing that little bit more momentum because he's not fast enough already, is he? But what riders are finding by adding this additional sprung mass to a bike, it just makes the bike feel more planted and more stable, so when you're ploughing through the rough stuff, it's not getting pinged about everywhere. So sprung mass is everything that's supported by a suspension, and then there's unsprung mass, which is everything that isn't. Now, I've got a list of those over on the individual video for this, so go check that out. And actually, in that video, I was lucky enough to ride Ferg's Orbea Rayon, and in that, it's actually got a system for bolting in additional mass. But for our experiments, we needed to order in some roofing lead, so we got 3 meters of it for £29, and then we worked out that 22 centimeters of that was 500 grams. Which works out at a wee bit over £2 for that 500 grams. So I've pre-shaped this bit of lead, and to peak enduro straps aside, this is the middle ground in terms of cost in today's experiment. But let's get it fitted and let's see how fast it can go. So bear with me on this because it is a little bit fiddly trying to get this strap through the linkage on my Tyee. Well, I'm going to use a nice rubber back, super strong Velcro strap from to peak. Bear with me one moment. There we go, that was a little bit more of an ordeal than it should have been, but thank you to our cameraman, Dan. So we're gonna have one strap for structure and then another for stability. Oof. Let's pedal up. So riding bikes isn't all just about going downhill, we do have to pedal up, but saying that, the weight is slightly less noticeable on this bike than it was on the Rayon. So let's winch up to the top and see how it does downhill. Woo! Yo! That felt freaking phenomenal. Right, I'm gonna just collect myself a little bit and then we're gonna talk some numbers. So how did the mods do? How did I do? Well, I'm gonna preface this by saying, yes, there is, I guess, an element of course learning, but I tried to reduce that by doing those recce runs this morning. So my baseline run in what I will call stock form was 2 minutes 17. Now that's on a course that is 0.75 miles or just over a kilometre since we're on the continent. Then once I put on the weights onto the front wheel, 2 minutes 15. So a little gain there. Again, it just made the front wheel feel like I could just place it a little bit more accurately as I was firing down the trail. And then things got turned up a little bit when I fitted the active spider. So previous time with the wheel was 2 minutes 15. With the active spider, 2:08. So a 7-second difference there. It is the most expensive mod we have here today, but it did make the bike feel phenomenal. I remember at the time when I initially tried this, it felt like it turned the bike up well past 11. So it just felt plusher. It was significantly quieter on the back end as regards sort of chain slap. And then last run with the additional sprung mass. Put that 500 grams on just under the bottom bracket on the bike, and I got down the hill on that run, 2 minutes 6. So again, 2 seconds on that. So overall a saving of 11 seconds. So you can buy speed, it turns out, but we're doing that by changing the ride characteristics of the bike in a way that gives you more confidence as a rider. Play about with your setup. You might find rolling your bars forwards, backwards, or changing your lever position does the same thing. But just don't be afraid to tinker. Make sure everything's done up properly when you do, and enjoy. But what order would I rank these mods in terms of cost, ride feel, and sort of install and sort of long-term practicality? So in first place, I would put the added sprung mass. When I did the original video on that, I came off that weighted run absolutely stoked. Like I completely binned off the conclusion I'd written and just went off feel from that. You guys could probably tell I was a little bit all over the place with it. Now I've tried it on 2 bikes, I can wholeheartedly sell the concept on you guys for, I think, yeah, £2 plus zip ties or some nice enduro straps. You can make your bike feel more planted, which will give you more confidence and make you just press that a little bit harder going down the trail. And in second place, I'm going to give it to the Active Spider chain damper. Now, I appreciate it is the most expensive part of today's experiment. That improved ride feel gives you that more confidence and allows you to press a little bit harder. And in third place, we have the wheel weight. It is arguably the cheapest. I did only have to balance one wheel, so it worked out about £2.70 with those 15 grams of adhesive lead tape on it. But you have to be really tuned in, I think, to how your bike feels to understand it and appreciate it. And it is the most likely also to be affected by external factors. So what I mean by that is you can spend all that time balancing your wheels and it can be undone by a really stubborn clump of mud, one corner into a track. And then think dried up sealant as well. If you leave it too long, it's going to clump up in the tyre and cause an imbalance there. I appreciate today's video has been very self-indulgent. I'm absolutely stoked on how this bike is feeling right now. If you have liked today's video, hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know what race tech you're running and what you think we should try next. And then subscribe so you know when we do. So I'm Adam, this is GMBN Tech, and I am definitely off for some more laps.